about being okay with the good, bad, and ugly. To accept those things about ourselves that we can't change, and those things that need to be changed, we put on our big girl panties and do the work. Be true to you is about being real with God, being real with self, so we can be true to you. Be true to you is not about competing with one another. We're about complimenting one another. Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. Happy 2023. Welcome to the Beat to the You Talk Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead, like, share, comment. That's right, like, share, and comment. Hey, this day is a special day. You see that little baby that's on that screen? That's my mini me. And we have a special segment that we're going to be offering every first Monday of the month. Give me 1 minute. Trying to get my laptop here together and share it for you guys. And do me a favor, go ahead and share it on your page. Do me a favor, share, like, and comment as I get ready to tell you about what's going on here. Now, now that I'm situated, we have this little baby. Her name is Morgan Christina. She's my only biological daughter. You see her in this picture. She's 3 months old, and that's right. She have Bob Platts in her head at 3 months old. But nevertheless, we're going to bring to you every first Monday, Mommy's Monday. And so, what is Mommy Mondays? I'm going to let um, Morgan Christina tell you that. But just know that she's dear to my heart. Again, she's my only birth daughter. I do have two other daughters, Tyresha and Janae. But this segment is Morgan. This is a special segment that she came up with, and I'm excited that she wants to be a part of the Be True to You. I'm excited that God has brought her here. And we're going to talk about some things as far as a mother and a daughter. But anyway, let's bring Morgan on. Let's introduce Morgan Christina. Isn't she just gorgeous? That's my mommy. And so you might say, why do I call her mommy? Well, because when she was able to talk, she's always bossed her brothers. And my son Eric used to always say, you ain't the mommy, Morgan. You ain't the mommy. Mama Morgan thinks she the mommy. Mama Morgan thinks she's the mommy. So she became mommy. And so here's mommy. Hello, mommy.
Hey y'all.
Yeah, this is mommy. And so this is Morgan. We call her mommy. I call her mommy. That's my pet name for her, mommy. And thank you again, mommy, for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're gonna do this segment was introduced to us by you, and tell me how do you come up with it, and what the people can expect from the show.
So mommy Mondays,
Mommy
right?
Mondays.
Not like possessive. Um, but I came up with it after we did the Christmas show. Because it was nice and I enjoyed the experience, and I felt like it would be good for other people to see like a live. I don't want to say live action, but like a mother daughter relationship that is healthy. Um, because mothers play a very important role in your life. You know, they bring you into this world. They like to say that they can take you out.
That's my favorite line. I brought you in, I'll take you
I'm still here.
out.
But and that's how I came up with it because my mom is important to me. And but I feel like for people who don't necessarily have a mom or have a good relationship with their mom, it's good for them as well because it gives them something to feel in their heart. It's almost like inspiration.
Yeah, I like that. And what I like about um, the ability to share is that we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. She's not a perfect daughter. I'm not a perfect mother. But what I have learned is that you're a perfect daughter, mommy. I've learned through Morgan how, well, I used to say Ken taught me this when I used to think, oh my God, why do Ken do the things he do? He didn't. I felt like I was a bad mother. I felt like I didn't instill the right things in him. And then it was one day when God revealed to me all the things that I used to do that I didn't get from my mother nor my father.
Right.
And so he had to let me know everything that they do to a certain extent is a choice. And so it's not it's not a reflection of me, but sometimes we feel like we're responsible for every action that our children do. And so in that, I say that I used to think Ken taught me how God, and I think every relationship that I have that's important to me is God showing me how much he loved me or showing me how to love. And so I feel like God is showing me through you some of the experience that my mom went through with me, and how she loved me in spite of. And it's also teaching me to love whether or not you do what I think you should do or what I want you to do. And I feel like sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of time, we want to mold our children into having the life that we want them to have, to be the person that we want them to be. And if we don't get what we want, we don't have a good relationship,
Right.
and we don't value them as a human. We just see them as you're my child. And so God is teaching me, and you're teaching me to value you
A
as a human,
person.
as a person, not just my
I
daughter.
am not a human, but as a person,
You're not okay.
because I'm extraterrestrial.
Okay, Morgan.
But it's actually funny that you would say that because one of the topics that I actually did want to touch on is what is the cutoff from, I don't want to say blaming your parents, but using them as a crutch. So like when what is the age where you can no longer say like, oh, I'm just like this because that's how I was raised?
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you have to decide to make choices on your own and mold the person that you want to be instead of going
Blaming.
based off of what you had in your childhood and saying, well, that's what my mama taught me or that's what my daddy taught me. So for me personally, um, it's, I would say for me, I think the age is, I would say probably 18. Actually, no, that's not true. I would say 20 because 18 is when you coming into your own. It's a legal age, but you still don't know anything at
Mm-hmm.
18. You still have to rely on your parents for a lot. Like I'm 27 now, and I still rely on y'all for a lot. I'm living in y'all house, but I know that at my big age, I can no longer say like, "Oh, well, that's my mama fault." It's officially on me
Mm-hmm.
to change everything that I want changed or to become who I want to be. So for you, because your mom raised you completely different
Yeah.
than you raised us.
Sort of, kind of. I don't think it me. Well, let's go to your first question. I don't think it's an age. I don't think it has anything to do with age, because there's a saying, just because you
Ages is
aging
just a
don't mean
number.
ages. That's a number. Just because you grown, just because you have age don't make you grown. Doesn't make you mature. And so to say a age that someone should be cut off or stop blaming their parents. It has a lot to do with life. It has a lot to do with maturity. It has a lot to do with experience, and it also has a lot to do with your surrounding, your environment. Because say you're a person that know nothing but your parents, and you stay around your parents, if you're not a person that's evaluating yourself, or holding yourself accountable, you don't know that you need to change the way you're thinking. You don't know it's time for you to stop blaming your parents. So I wouldn't say it's an age, but I do believe that comes a time when you have to be responsible for your own action. That's what I
Now,
feel.
I think for me, I'm coming into that point in my life. And I would have to agree, it's not necessarily age because in some ways there are a lot of things that I do um, that someone would consider not fitting for my age. Um, However, my life experiences have not been that of the typical 27-year-old, but there aren't really any typical experiences because everyone's experience is different. But for me personally, I just got to this point in my life where I really feel like, okay, it's really on me because I'm watching the time go by and noticing that I really don't have much time left before I'm your age. And not to say that that's a bad thing, but you have inspired me to want more for myself. Um, so in a sense, that's what I would say is you're to blame for me wanting a better life for myself.
Well, I'll take that part. Blame me for that one. I'll take that part. What I do know is that when you said that I raised you different from the way my mother uh, raised you, raised us. Um, I felt like I was a lot like my mom, but no shade to my mother, no disrespect or anything. It was a point of time where I didn't like my mother because I felt like she didn't like me, and it was because she didn't like some of the things I was doing. And not only that, I feel like we were so much alike that we bumped heads. But it took me to have you to get a better understanding of where she was coming from. And so that is another way that you don't when you do life, when you live life, it calls you to get another perspective to see things different. So then no at that point I was no longer blaming her for my action. I was no longer blaming her for how I turned out. I got a better understanding as far as where she was coming from. And so one thing I know is that I wanted to do my best that you never got to the point where you hated me. I was always trying to be mindful that we never got to that point where this is a year that I couldn't stand you and you couldn't stand me. And so I think that comes from life experience, right?
Right.
As far as me being experienced, as far as having a mother, me being experienced, as far as being a child, that I wanted to make sure that I didn't do those things that was done in my mom in my mom in my relationship. But at the same time, it was some things that I wanted to make sure that I
Was
did that I got from my mother. That makes sense?
It does make
Yeah.
sense. And I feel like you did have a good balance because I mean, don't get me wrong, we have had our fair share of ups and downs in our relationship. Like we weren't always at this point. And actually speaking, it's really nice that we can actually live together. I say actually a lot. It's nice that we can live together, exist together in a peaceful setting because it
Because
wasn't always like this.
and like my mom, it was a point in time where me and my mom couldn't live together. We was so close. I loved her not living with her, but living with her again, we bumped head. Why? Because we were so much alike, and two, I had to get to the understanding that it was her house, so it was her rules. And you feel like sometimes when you're grown, I could do what I want to do whenever I want to do it, how I want to do it. But no, when you're under someone's roof, you have to abide by those rules as well. But I do believe this time God allowed you to come back to Florida to strengthen our relationship because I feel like now I'm more acceptable to what you do, some of your curriculums, your
My extracurricular
curricular
activities.
activities that used to make me boil. Where I was like, I can't believe this is my daughter, and I'm gonna beat it out of her, or I feel like you're gonna get out if you're gonna do these things, and not that you was murdering anybody, not that you was around here sniffing coke, not that you was shooting up, even though I used to check your body just in case you was, but you learn to you have taught me to learn that you was a person, not just my daughter.
Yeah, as you used to always say, my Morgan.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm Morgan. I'm just not your Morgan.
Hmm.
I am your daughter. Um, but
You don't belong. I don't
and
own you.
it's never your child's responsibility to live up to the expectations that you set from them. And I think that is a very big problem within, I will say, the Black community, because that's really the only community, the community that I can speak for. In the Black community, it is very prominent where families will disassociate from each other because of them not living up to their expectations.
Hmm.
So I can appreciate the fact that even though I am not the version of Morgan that you were hoping for or that you looked for, I mean, in some ways I am.
Hmm.
I'm just not, um, the in her shoes version that you were looking for. Um, but I can appreciate the growth that you have had as my mother, because again, before I did think that we would get to a point where like I just wouldn't be able to stomach you and you wouldn't be able to stomach me, because I already felt like you were getting to that point. This was back in like
Hmm.
2017.
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
um but so looking back, it's nice to see like how far we have come, and
Hmm.
I do know that it had to happen that way. It was something that took time, and I did need to leave
Hmm.
and come back on my own terms
Hmm.
in order for it to work out. If I kept coming back, like if I kept moving on your terms, I feel like our relationship would have never prospered, because eventually I would have just had resentment for you.
Hmm. And if you didn't have resentment, I would have been resenting you, honey, because you would, whoo, y'all, this girl
I really
never
was.
talked back to me. Now let me tell you that none of my kids had ever talked back to me. Never, none of them have ever been disrespectful to me in my face. Let me say that they've never did that. Here's the thing. This is what bothered me about Morgan. When I would tell her not to do something, or I would tell her that I didn't want her to do it, she would just be like, but then she would do it anyway. And then let's just be real. Okay. Can we be real?
Yeah.
My daughter um smoked weed, right? And so me being a Christian, me never smoking weed except for one time. Let me not say never, only one time when my father died. And I called myself angry with God, not gonna serve the Lord anymore, and I'm just gonna be out here wild. And I would like, and that was it. So hold me, judge me, it's okay. But
I don't.
I just didn't want her to be um a weed smoker. I wanted her to be prim. I wanted her to be proper. We talked about this. I wanted her to be more ladylike. I felt like um, the weed gave her a dirty look. I felt like it made her have this awful smell. Yes, I was judging. Yes, I was projecting how I felt about it on you. But it took me knowing that God took me in when I was doing things that He didn't like as well. And so this is why I say God teaches me how to love and how to parent through my children as
Right.
far as how He treat me. And so when she used to do that, I was so mad. It was so angry. And that's all I could see, that I couldn't see the Morgan. I couldn't embrace the Morgan because I was so angry. Like every time she came in, I was looking at her eyes, trying to see what she smelled like. And I was just building up my resentment off of what I wanted Morgan to be. And I had to learn to let Morgan be who God has created Morgan to be in the midst of that, whether it be her smoking weed. Not saying God created her to smoke her weed, but I'm saying God created her and she had to grow into who He ordained for her to be and not who I wanted her to be.
And it's still a work in progress. I'm still growing every day. Um, but that was definitely a turning point in our relationship. And that was one of those moments where I was like, dang, I should have just lied. And we probably would have been all right. But it was also a turning point in the sense to where for me personally, opening up to you about that, it opened me up for who I am today. Because once you knew, I felt like I just didn't have to hide anymore. And it helped me to become more open with everything. So now I am just an open person. Like I still have a little bit of mystery to me. I mean, not too much because I actually talk too much sometimes, but it helped me to be more honest and open about who I am in every aspect, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. I have absolutely no shame. And that might not be
A
the
good thing.
best thing in the world, but I have no shame.
Well, the sad thing about it, and plus the sad, plus a good thing, you did get that part of me from me that is now a part of you, because not that I would tell everything I did, but if it would come to a question, I didn't
I'm
lie
answering,
about it.
right.
It is what it is, and it's gonna be what it is. And I'm not one of those that try to, lie about what I do, how I did it. I'm just I'm open like that. And I want to say one thing about you, Morgan, that you have always been open to me, even to the point where when you first had sex, before you had sex, you would always say,
That
I'll
is
tell
not
you,
true.
I'll tell you what.
I have never had sex.
Okay.
No,
Even
but
but even with that, she would say she would tell me. And she did. She told me, but you didn't have to tell me. Tell the
right.
people why you didn't have to tell me.
'Cause that's not necessarily your business.
But I had no, like I had already knew. Tell them how.
Oh, the, now this is a traumatic part of my childhood. I really don't like to speak on it too much because imagine not being able to do anything because before you could do anything, it would be in a dream. So I really didn't have to tell my mom about my first sexual encounter because she had already seen it in a dream. And I guess me telling her was like confirmation um that no one really needed. Like I'm pretty sure my dad didn't need to know that, but I told him too. And you didn't need to know that, but I felt like I could tell you. And since I said that I would, I did. Because one thing that I do try to live by is being a woman of my word. My word is my bond. If I say I'm going to do something, I have to do it, which is why I try to be mindful of what I say I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But imagine me, thinking I'm really telling her something. I come home, I sat both of them down on the bed. I said, Mom, Dad, I have something to tell you. What even was that about? I really do not know why I felt like I needed to do it in that manner, but I did. And I was like, I had sex. And my mom was like, she looked right at my dad. She said, I told
Told you.
you. And in the dream, I could tell them the dream.
You can tell.
In the dream, I walked in on my parents having sex. And to me, that meant absolutely nothing because I had done that before in real life.
Mhm.
So I thought she was just having like a little flashback. But when you think about it, it really shows that I had been exposed to sex. And I had for my own self. And 4 out of 10 wasn't really the best experience.
Yeah, but I tell them that as far as being, I'm telling you, if you a parent, just not even being a parent, Lord, I don't even know how people can raise children without the Lord. I could not have done it without God because He revealed so much and He showed me what to pray for, how to pray for, and He also brought things to me that before it happened, so I can know how to handle it. And so I'm thankful to be.
But you also like that kind of held me back a little bit because I am one of the few girls who don't. Well, actually, never mind. I think that's like a good thing. But I was gonna say I never had that experience of like an older guy coming to pick me up from school.
Oh, so now you're trying to talk about. And so, y'all, everything that Morgan wanted to do, she triggered me. You know how you say you trigger me? She triggered me. She triggered me because there were things that she would do. And I'd be like, you can't do that. Because I remember when I was dating Wilbur, I used to tell my mama that. So the answer is no. Or, you can't go there because I remember when I was dating Woody, I told my mama I was going to do this. And so she feel like,
Wilbur ruined my entire childhood.
Mommy, you don't even know
I
him.
was just getting ready to say that I do not know this man. If I saw him walking down the street, I wouldn't even tell it was him. But I can tell you from experience that he ruined my childhood.
No, he didn't. It was just wisdom that didn't allow you to travel down the road that I travel. But it's not about that. It's about God um, giving me the wisdom and the knowledge to raise you. It's about learning to accept you for who God has created you to be. And I'm proud. I'm proud of you. I am really proud of you because you're truthful with who you are. And sometimes I'm gonna be truthful. Sometimes I'm afraid. Well, I'm learning not to be, but I used to be afraid of how people um perceived you, because I remember when I was growing up, nobody liked me. They always say, oh, I was so mean. I would run the company away. And I see that sometime, where I was seeing that sometime when you came around, where people think, oh, Morgan's so mean. Oh, she just say anything out of her mouth. And that was a trigger to me as for when I was a child, how people used to see me. And when I say child, I say, I meant to say like a teenager,
Right.
stuff like that. When I was younger, I know that I was the least liked out of the peers. And so I didn't want you to be the least liked out of your cousins, your peers, your brothers. I didn't want you to be the least liked. But at the same time, I couldn't try to make you be something
That I'm
that you're
not.
not, just to be accepted by
Right.
people. And so in that, God had taught me to love you for you. And you're me, literally, honestly. The only difference is now is that at your age, I had already got saved. I had already had 3 kids,
I
you know.
have four.
Stop telling people that.
I have four
What's your kid's
kids.
name? What's your kid's name?
Anastasia, Anaya, Atticus, and Amora. Mommy loves you if you're watching.
Y'all, mommy.
Which camera I need to look at? Love y'all. Hope y'all dad taking real good care of y'all right now. But that is actually something that I did struggle with. As far as the way people perceive me.
She don't have any kids, y'all.
I have four. But even now
Imagine
even now
imaginary kids.
even now in this moment, like at my age now, presently, I still kind of have that struggle in which like people just think I'm so mean. But I will say that it has helped me to create genuine bonds. Like I know that the people who are around me genuinely love me for me because it's hard to be around me if you don't love me for real
Mhm.
because I can easily step on toes. I can easily rub someone the wrong way.
Yeah, I was like that too. But when I got saved, and I realized that that was not a good thing. It was not a.
No, I
It's
don't
not
think
a
it's a
good.
good
It's not a
thing.
good thing to be um hard to
Abrasive.
approach, abrasive, um, unlikable. Get it? Nobody is not gonna like everybody,
Right.
but you don't want to put off that. But even if you do put that off, uh, no one can want you to be something just for
Else.
their sake. I can't want you to be a different Morgan just so that I don't feel uncomfortable when you're around the family. I can't want you to be a different Morgan just because I didn't like the feeling when I was growing up and people was calling me mean. You know what I mean? And so I've learned. I thought about that the other day. I was thinking. I was like, was I rejecting you? Have I ever made you feel rejected? Because I never ever wanted that to be, but I feel like at one point or maybe like you said in 2017, 2018, I don't even think I was rejecting you, but I was really hard on you.
Yes, I feel like you were more so triggered.
Yeah.
Uh,
And concern.
I feel like you were having such intense flashbacks of your own childhood
Mhm.
and you started to project on me so that like even though I wasn't doing the things that you wanted me to do, I wasn't doing the things that you said I was doing. Like you always took it next level, like,
You'd be
and
like,
I feel like
Mom,
I get
why?
that from you. But yeah, you would take things next level. So much so to the point that sometimes I've started to feel like insulted. Like you thought so low of me
Mhm.
that I would be in those situations. But I mean, I guess it wasn't too far off. But no, yeah, I'm lying. You was far off. Actually, a little the way you was far off is kind of disrespectful. But it helped me in its own way. I think it helped you too.
Yeah, it really helped me. It really did help me. You have I'm telling you, first it was Ken that I have, Ken, Eric, and Morgan. First it was Ken that literally used to keep me on my knees. Oh my goodness. And then I remember God telling me that he was going to give him back to me, meaning he was going to take him out of the streets and give him back to me. He never said when. He first told me that he was 17 when he told me he was going to give him back to me. He might have was 18. He said, I'm going to give him back to you because he was so drawn to the streets. Even though streets did not raise him, he was drawn to the streets. And I remember God saying, I'm going to give him back to you. So I allowed, I just kept praying. I kept letting God do what he wanted to do. And then it was you. It skipped Eric and it went to you.
Imagine that.
It skipped Eric. But now Eric worries me more than you and Ken do now. I think like that's what people have to understand. Every child is different and everybody have their time. Yeah. So now I pray more so for Eric and you than I do Ken, but I still pray for him. But I'm not as
It's not as intense.
tense.
Now, me personally, I feel like you should have prayed for me the least. I feel like I was your easiest child, and that's what's crazy.
You were growing up, but
No,
not when you hit your teens, mommy.
I
When you
feel
got
like
like 20, 19, 20. Oh, babe, how old you when we moved to
Georgia,
Georgia?
I was 22.
Yeah. That 21, 22, even to the point where Woody said, Shorty, she's not staying here. You tell her she gotta come with us. You was worrying us, okay?
And but
You
for
was
the
worrying
wrong,
us.
for the
Mama, you was worrying
but do
us.
you know why I was worrying y'all? Because y'all were projecting.
Mm-mm.
Y'all kept swearing that I was just doing a whole bunch of stuff that I really was
Mm.
not doing.
You had to go.
I was getting my bearings.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, starting to experience life for myself. I mean, I'm thankful because had I not gone to Georgia, I'm pretty sure my life would be in a completely different direction than
Hmm.
it is currently. Um, hey, shout out to God.
Yeah.
But it's like they say everything happens for a reason. But y'all was going so hard for no reason. I'm not sure what the reason was behind that. I still feel like it was extremely unwarranted. But I maybe feel like y'all were in shock. I want to say that actually. I feel like y'all were in shock because for majority of my life, I was so like, yes, ma'am, and just at home.
Hmm.
And then, I kind of ventured off from being so at home and so like
I think what really made me pray harder for you and made me think the worst is when I found out you was smoking marijuana. Cause to me that was just like, how dare her smoke marijuana? Oh my God, And I think about this time because we didn't smoke marijuana, but when we was growing, when we got
y'all
up,
smoked crack.
no, no, we didn't smoke no
No,
crack.
your generation
Well,
did crack
your
and
generation pop all
cocaine.
kind of pills.
And I don't judge them for it. But what I'm saying is your
They not
generation.
your children, so you're not
But
concerned about it.
hear
Your
me out.
generation is
Hear me
wild. Your
out.
generation
Hear
pop
me
pill,
out.
kill people,
Your
rob people.
generation was literally they created the crack epidemic,
No,
right?
we did not.
No, hear me
The
out.
white
Hear me
man
out.
created it and brought it to us.
I'm saying, but y'all participated in it.
Yeah.
Y'all was smoking that crack. And so I could not fathom why you was so like upset and really rubbed the wrong way
Because I
about
didn't smoke
weed of
weed.
all
I
things
didn't
in the
smoke weed.
world.
I didn't
Like
smoke weed. And
it's
I'm like,
from the
where'd you get
earth.
that from?
It's literally so natural.
No, not the way y'all do it. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I think you smoking weed, and because it was not something that I did, it was not something that I partaked in. It's something that I felt like, and it's you. I want you to do what I do what I and don't do what I don't do. So I think that you smoking weed was just like, because I only that time really knew males to smoke weeds, thugs to smoke weed, ghetto people to smoke weed, and I know. Don't judge me. I know business, white collar, President
They smoke
Obama,
it the most.
everybody smoke weed. I know that. But I'm just saying I didn't want that for her as far as my daughter. And I think that had a lot to do with how I was perceiving you.
Yes, because I don't know if you remember, but you literally used to be calling me like dirty,
I always say you look
a
dirty.
street runner,
Foot
and
dragger.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you was hard down insulting me for real,
Mommy,
for
you
real.
wasn't ironing your
Let's
clothes.
unpack that. I still don't iron my clothes to this day. That's just something that I'm not going to
But
do.
at the same time, you was just
That didn't iron
worrying
this
me.
shirt either.
I
Like,
ironed it.
and it don't even look like it
It
for
did.
real.
I did. It do.
So, but like those things, like everything that I was then, I am now.
A foot dragger?
No, I'm saying like the stuff that I was doing then, I do it now, but you don't consider me a foot dragger.
No, because I think now that I see you more, and you're taking more pride in yourself. You're putting yourself together. You don't just look like you roll out of bed. Because one point in time, mommy, you just like you just roll out of bed and I'm
Because
out.
regardless of how I show up, I just need the world to know that I showed up. I feel like that's important. It's important to show up. A lot of
I think
times
that
we
your
don't give
problem
people
was
enough credit for that.
I
It's
do.
hard to show up.
it is hard to show up. I think the reason why I probably grew up faster than you is because by your age now, like I
You
said,
had
I had kids.
I
I
was about to
had to
say
grow up. Yeah,
by the time you were my age, you have me. I
yeah,
am literally your last child.
yeah.
So you had no choice but to pull your pants up and grow up. Me, I could pull mine down and do whatever I want to do currently
See,
because
that's
I
the sad thing about your generation. Your generation has no morals.
whoa whoa
I
whoa.
think the generation of the has absolutely no morals. You guys don't have a you guys don't
That's
have a
not true.
line. You guys don't. We had a line that we
That's
didn't
not
cross.
true.
You guys cross. You don't have a line.
There is a code of honor and there is a moral compass. The problem
And when
is,
we was
you see
growing
how
up,
you point your fingers at me?
we wouldn't do things that would bring shame to our
And
parents.
so this is what I was getting ready to
Yeah.
explain to you. So I'm so glad you said that. The difference is we have a moral compass, but our moral compass is based off of us. It's not based off of anyone else except for ourselves, the
It,
individual. And so that is why we don't care about how the family looks because I mean,
which
yes, we
is
are.
sad. That is so sad. How
Pause.
could you not?
Just
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead, honey, because
relax a
I'm
little
about to.
bit. Yes. It's not so much about like not caring about how the family looks, but you have to realize that we grew up like my generation. I'm talking about millennials. I can't really speak for Gen Z, but I also admire Gen Z in their own way. But we grew up being raised by, for the most part, toxic parents. And so for us, I'm not going to say family is not important, but it's more so individualism and creating your own families. It's not, we don't think that like you have to stick with the family that you were born into just because you were born into it. No, we have moral compass and we do have things that we uphold and we believe, but it's more so on like uh all things love level. Like we don't have to accept things that we don't want to. But we have a moral compass and we have a code of honor.
Mm.
There is
Now,
honor amongst thieves.
what what I do like about you guys is that you guys do live your life for yourself. But I think you can live your life for yourself and at the same time keep your bloodline,
Your
your
lineage.
lineage, that one, um in your forefront. Be mindful,
But
be mindful, but
it
at the
just
same,
depends on your
not to the
lineage.
point where it's destroy who you are, not to the point where you can't um be yourself. But I think by us caring about our parents, it allowed us um to
Lack
have
individualism.
maybe that, but at the same time, we still wouldn't go outside of the line. We had a box in a sense, and I know you're not supposed to live in a box. Well, we just was just more thoughtful. We just didn't. My At that time, your parents worked so hard, so you didn't want to bring shame to your family, and it's like that now. We don't do things. I don't do things because I don't want to bring shame to God. So I'm always thinking about even you guys. I always tell you guys, when you go outside, you represent me. Don't go out those looking like this. Don't go out those doing that, because you represent me as a whole. Because when people see you, they're not going to be say, "Oh, that's just Morgan." They're going to be like, "That's Morgan, Angela's daughter." And so we have to get to the point where no, you don't not be your real self, your authentic self, but and you still have to do things in decent and order.
Well, I think that in our to us, well, I'm not gonna speak for everyone. For me personally, I do things in decency and in order. I just don't have the old school mindset about it. I guess you would say I'm more new age. You can look at me and see that. Um, but I don't think that what I do brings shame to the family. Um, but that's why it's important to focus more so. I'm not gonna say like throw family out of the window, but it's more so important to focus on how you feel because imagine if I just coasted through life thinking like, oh, well, I can't do that because my mom isn't gonna like that, or what will people say about my granny if they saw me doing this?
Yeah,
I'm robbing myself of
yeah,
experiences for the sake of a family name.
I get that, Christy. I mean, mommy, I get that. I get that. You don't want to make all of your decision. Um, based on how I see it, but at the same time, I think some of the decision that we make has to do with our family. It has to do with um, some of the sacrifice. Not that you asked to be here, but I didn't put you in the garbage can, nor did I throw you up for adoption. So some of those things, you have to we take in consideration. That's what I'm saying. Not that you have to live your life according to how I want you to live your life or how your father wants you to live your life, or because we're all Christian, but you just take some things into consideration.
I do.
Yeah, like the reason why I was never a stripper, right? Because I always wanted to be a stripper. There's two reasons why I couldn't be. I'd never strip. One is that I could never make my booty shake. I couldn't do the thing with
You
ankle.
don't have to do that either.
And two, I didn't want to embarrass my father. Not even my mom at that time. I just didn't want to embarrass my father.
I personally feel like when them racks start rolling in, my father will not be embarrassed.
Child, money is not everything,
It
money.
is absolutely not.
Answer all things, but it's not everything.
No, I don't think so at all.
Okay.
Love is everything.
Okay.
However, money is still very important.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm just saying, if that is what brings you shame, minor issues.
Okay. Well,
But it is
I'm not ashamed of any of my children. I can say that. Now, there's times when I've had shameful moments, but I'm not
what's one
ashamed.
of them?
Let's see, shameful when I got a lot on. What you trying to tell me, babe? You want me? What do you want you to read the comments? Um, when I used to think that you was out there in them streets, I'm thinking
I don't even know where you
I
got
was
that from.
ashamed of Eric when I was so mad and ashamed of Eric when he got a tattoo on his chest. Uh, I used to be ashamed of Ken when he didn't pull his pants up. So I had those shameful moments, but I'm not ashamed of any of my children. I think God did a great job.
Yeah,
I
you
think I
definitely
did a
could have
great
had
job.
worse children.
Yeah. And I used to think I was the worst parent. I'd be like, I didn't do right. I didn't raise you guys right. I didn't teach you
I should have just started saying I agree.
guys.
I'm not even sure why you kept saying that.
I know. I don't know. I felt like I felt you guys. Yeah, that's what I used to feel. Read some of the
I
comments.
mean, I guess only in the sense that you didn't give me a silver spoon, but you know, that's not the worst thing you could have done. But okay, so they said, "Oh, hey Machi." Machi said that is true. You will always be a reflection of someone.
That's right.
The person that I am a reflection of is the reflection that I see when I look in the mirror.
No, mommy, we're being.
Okay, seriously speaking, all jokes aside, I don't really, I struggle with that one. But no, all jokes aside, it is important to understand that you do represent someone at the end of the day, not just necessarily yourself, but you are always associated with someone,
Someone.
um, regardless of how much you may not want to be. It is what it is, unless everyone and your bloodline is just
Gone.
wiped out, and God forbid. Um, there is a legacy at stake in every decision. So basically, everyone is saying that
Yeah, you're gonna the your decision is gonna allow the legacy to live, or you're gonna make it um fade away. And you guys always say, what footprints are you leaving?
right. And so a lot of the comments are saying that like this generation is wild. And I beg to differ. I feel like the reason why y'all feel like it's wild is one, because it's more out there, because social
Social
media is
media.
so prominent and you see it
Yeah.
all day, every
Mhm.
day. However, majority of the stuff that we did, as y'all always say, there is nothing new under
Under
the
the
sun.
sun.
So majority of the stuff that we do, y'all did. It's just one thing about us, we have to double it. So we're gonna take it up a notch.
Not a
But,
good
but
thing.
that's what you do though. The next generation that comes after you is always supposed to take it up a notch.
Positive manner, not in a negative
But we
manner.
have taken it up in a positive manner.
Yeah, one
We
thing I can
have
say about your generation
so
that you
many
guys
activists, so
love,
many entrepreneurs.
and yeah,
We promote creativity. We promote love. We promote individuality. Like this generation, I feel like genuinely just does not get enough credit. Like, yes, it gets crazy out here.
Yeah, okay, let's be truthful. Let's be real. You get crazy, right?
It do get crazy out
And you
here.
guys, I do love when I look at your the millennials. You guys do believe in working for yourself. You guys have that mindset of being an entrepreneur. You guys have the mindset of that you ain't gonna be working no 40 hours for somebody. You guys understand that, and you guys do travel way more than my generation ever did.
Right.
And so I see you guys doing some things different as well for the better. But I also see where you guys discount everyone else that came before you in a sense.
And now I can semi agree and semi disagree, because what I will say is it depends on how it is presented, because a lot of times the older generation will come to us but not from like a loving position
Mhm.
or like an elder position. It's always condescending and very judgmental, so naturally your response to that is never going to, I'm
Be in a
not taking that
positive.
accept I'm
Right,
not
right,
accepting that advice.
right,
I'm actually going to do the exact opposite of what you told me to do, because I don't like the way you told me to do that.
right,
And so that's when it goes into effect that it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So, yes, my generation is a tad bit more rebellious, but I will say it's just based off of what has been presented to us, because not every elder is like you. And originally you weren't like this either, so it took you time to get here. So it's just a growing process and
What
a
you
learning
mean? What
process for
I was,
everyone.
I was like, what, mommy? Understanding?
You used to be very judgmental. Um, and you too could be very condescending. And you had absolutely no understanding in regards to anything except for what you understood.
Yeah.
And we hardly ever understood the same things.
Mhm.
Which was also something that we struggled with. And so like, my generation, well, actually, no, I take that back. But your generation, y'all did like activism has always been a thing.
Yeah.
But like we have been so like much louder
Mhm.
with it, because there's so many different avenues that we could take. We have more fields than y'all had back in the day. But hot dog, I lost my point that fast. Um, what I had said before that.
Ah.
Anyways, the fact of the matter is that with each generation, there's always going to be something that the generation before them will say, like, I don't like the way y'all do that.
Mhm.
And then there will be the generation that comes after that says, well, I didn't like the way y'all did that. So this is why we're doing it this way. So it's just evolution. Like, you know how like the sun, all the planets, they rotate. It's the same thing
Mhm.
with generations. Some
What?
generation like this generation is like the last generation and the last generation and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I know. We
You
things do
just do
change.
it bigger and better every time.
And but hold on to some of the old things. Some of the old things is necessary.
Some.
Some of the old things are necessary. And I do get some of the things we should get rid of because we did believe in do what I say, not what I do. Don't ask me any questions. You
Stay out of
stay
grown
out of grown
folks'
folks'
business.
business.
What
That's a
stay in
plus.
this house stays in. What happens in this house stays in this
I
house.
disagree with that now. I used to agree with that, but not when you're being abused or molested, and
Right.
I don't agree with that. But they used to sweep things like that under the rug, so I understand that. Someone said that our face is look good, that we look pretty. With that being said, we want to share with you some information about Mali. As soon as the flight come up, I'm gonna share it with you.
Face
Um,
is beat.
our face was done by the young lady named Molly. Um, she's having a event. When is she having it? January 7th at 8 o'clock. She's having an event on Zoom, and it's called Girl Get Up and Get Dressed, where it's $47, and she's going to teach you some tricks on getting your makeup done, doing your makeup, how to take your makeup to the next notch, how to be glam. And so she came today and she did Morgan in my face, and she did a great job. And again, if you want to connect with her or if you want to learn a little more about your makeup or how to take your makeup to the next level, take a look at this flyer, screenshot it. Her name is Molly. It's called Girl Get Up, Get Dressed. It's $47 for a Zoom class where she's going to tell you some of the items that you need that you can use and sit down in front of Zoom. You don't even have to leave your house, and you can take your makeup to the next notch. You could be ready for the weddings that's coming in June. You could be ready for Valentine's Day. You can be ready for anniversary, whatever. Sometimes it costs a lot to get your makeup done, and if you can, you do. If you can't, then at least you know a trick or two that can get you out of the door, and you can still look glam. So follow her. Her name is Molly. What's her last name? I'm sorry, Molly, I can't read my
Let me put it on.
Bates. Molly Bates. Neither
It's
one
not on here.
is not on there. Okay, so yeah. Again, that's January 7th at 8 o'clock. Bid Zoom. You can pay through Eventbrite. And again, it's only $47. $47 for a skill and a talent that you will never have to worry about anybody taking away from you. And you can always be ready. And so again, it's the same day of the Catch Your Second Win event. Yep, the same day of the Catch Your Second Win. That is this Saturday at 10 o'clock at True Bout Hilton in Fort Lauderdale from 10 to 2. We have the speaker, John Wright Good, Apostle Sheila O'Brien, Apostle Clive O'Brien. We have an intercessor, Pastor Mary Lewis, and we are going to be giving out gifts, giveaways, raffles, music, food. You do not want to miss this. You want to be a part. If you have a ticket now, if you don't have a ticket, I'm so sorry. There's absolutely nothing I could do for you, but you can catch us via live, Facebook, and probably YouTube, and that's Saturday at 10. If you don't have a ticket, sorry. If you have a ticket and you're not going to be able to attend, please let us know so we can pass that ticket on to someone else. And again, this is going to be event that you do not want to miss. The reason being, I know this event is going to be awesome. It's going to be life changing. It's going to be mind shifting. Is because when God told me to do it free, I know He wanted to make sure certain people be there. He didn't want the finance to be a problem for them. Now, we're doing this out of our pockets. So if you want to sow a seed, thank you so very much. You can sow it by Cash App or Zellen. Be True to You Hair, or you can Zell it at 954 Again, 954 Or you can Cash App me at Angela Lewis Warren. Again, Cash App me at Angela Lewis Warren. Zell me at 954 um, 298 And so we're going to do this event from our pockets. And I know that God's going to make a way. I know that it's going to be an event that you guys will not regret being a part of. And if you can't catch it live, as far as being in the building, it won't be the same, but you can catch it via live social media, because we're going to have lunch, we're going to have interaction, we're going to have people standing with you, interceding with you, praying for you. And you're just going to be able to connect with some people, and God is going to breathe life back into some of your dreams, some of your hopes, some of your vision, some of the things that you felt like you was too old, some of the things that someone told you that it wasn't important. Some people told you that you didn't know enough, you wasn't good enough, and so you threw it to the side. Something in life made you feel like you couldn't be that superstar, you couldn't be that model, you couldn't be the mother, you couldn't be the wife, you couldn't be the daughter, you couldn't be the author, you couldn't be whatever those dreams are you had when you was younger. Now you feel like you're too old, we feel like we're too fat, we just all those excuses that we gave ourselves to stop the things that God has called us to, all those things that stopped us from dreaming. We're going to tackle those this Saturday at the Catch a Second Win. So I cannot wait to see you guys being in the building, or Facebook or YouTube Live. Okay. So anyway, make sure you get with Molly. Make sure you be a part of the
Catch
Catch
a
a
second
Second Win.
win.
And Yeah. Morgan, you have anything else you want to talk to the people about?
Actually, one of the comments asked if this generation was being true to themselves, and I thought that was a very good question. I feel like this generation embodies be true to you. Do you think so?
Say it again.
Someone asked if this generation is being true to themselves, and I said I feel like this generation is an embodiment of be true to you. I feel like it is be true to you personified. Um,
Yeah, I do too. I think that they're so busy being true to themselves that even to the point where being true to yourself it's like a two-edged sword, because you're so busy about I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna do me, that you don't understand that you can hinder somebody, or you can hurt someone, because it kind of be you're so selfish in a sense.
mhm.
You can become so selfish when you just like I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna be true to me. And one thing we don't want to be is 100% selfish. It's good to be selfish at time, but we should be thoughtful of our neighbors, and that's any one of our loved ones. Bible say, do unto others as you have them do unto you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. So we don't want to be such selfish beings, because when we do that, then we're not embracing, we're not loving, we're not caring. And love and caring is what make the world go round. And so you want to not be so true to yourself that you don't think about anybody else. But you don't want to ever think about someone else to the point where it causes you not to be happy. It causes you not to be able to express who you are, or it causes you to feel like there's no reason why you can live this. You should live this life. That's how I feel. Uh,
That's valid.
that's valid.
My generation is does have a tendency to be too selfish. I struggle with that. Not like me personally, but it's something that I don't like about my generation myself. It's hard dealing with them
Yeah.
when they be so selfish.
Yeah.
But I do think we are indeed true to ourselves.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. And what I've when I say be true to you, being true to you to me is to own up to the good, the bad, the ugly of yourself. Being true to me is being real with your shortcomings, your wrong. When I say be true to you, that's what it's about. Not to the point where I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna do me, and I don't care what nobody else say. I consider, but at the same time, I'm not gonna let how they see me um be the last,
It
what do you
won't
say?
make or break me.
Right. Exactly. I'm still gonna do me. I'm just gonna do me respectfully to you. Whether doing me caused me to exit, doing me caused me to back away from you in a sense, but I'm going to be me over being unhappy because I'm trying to please you. Yeah. And so, right, being selfish is not necessarily a bad thing. Not being inconsiderate is what we have to care for. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be selfish to the point where you don't care, you don't consider anybody else.
Right.
Yeah. And so yeah.
So you have to be selfish, selfless at the same time. It's
Hmm.
important to have a balance.
A balance. Balance is key in life, everything we do. Balance is key.
You know me, I'm a queen of balance. I
Yeah.
live by balance.
You do, mommy?
Hmm.
Okay.
Gotta even things out. If you
Not
do,
the tic
oh,
tac. Not if you do
because
something to me,
I
I'm
was
gonna
literally
do.
about to say,
No.
if you get me, you best believe I'm be gotten you. But I do understand what you're
Yeah.
saying from both sides, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Balance is important
Balance is,
in
yeah.
every aspect. Like as far as you know, if you drink water, you need to eat your vegetables. And if you do that, then you can, have a little sweets.
Right.
But also in the sense that if they get me, get me, get me, got them, got them, got them.
Whatever. So, mommy, tell the people what to expect every first Monday of each month.
Every first Monday, expect me. Okay. But every
What
first
What are some of the things you want to share? What do you want people
every
to get out of it?
first Monday, you can expect some laughs, wisdom, and love. Three things. Let me even that out because I do not like odd numbers. Okay. Laughs, wisdom, love, and character. Four things that you will get every Monday. when you tune in to Mommy Mondays, um, you will get to see me helping my mother, me teaching my mother. You will get to see me raising my mother, um, from my perspective, and hearing how she feels. It'll basically be two generations, two different dynamics, because we're the same, but we are opposite. You know,
I'm I'm all the way saved. She believe in Jesus.
we working on it. Hallelujah.
Oh, glory.
She full fledged sanctified. God is still working on me
How do you
every
feel?
day.
How you feel about being living in the house with a mother that was saved?
Hey, I
Is
mean,
it a was it you feel like it was a plus, right?
it definitely builds character. I will tell you that, because it is nothing like being asleep, okay, and being woken up by prayer. Or it is nothing like going to school with your forehead dripping. Like, it definitely builds character, and it is an experience. But I will say it was beneficial. I know that it kept me out of a lot of things. It kept me here to this day. I know that God had His hands on me because of you. Like, if it was just up to me, He probably wouldn't even know me for real. I
Right,
mean, now,
right.
but like originally, no, not for real. But it was definitely for my good, and it made me who I am today.
Yeah,
I mean,
exciting.
I'm not perfect, but I'm solid for real.
Yeah.
I am a pretty good person. I'm not like the best person. I still have a lot of room for growth.
We all do. We
Um,
all do. As long as we live on this earth, we're growing. Apostle Sheila say, "Mother and fathers are saved." Yes, mother and father are saved, but in our house, mother said more than father.
right.
Yeah,
Like, mom is really, not to say that like my dad is not Team Jesus, but my mom is really like vocally Team Jesus. Like, she is really like the grandma's hands and of the house.
yeah.
Like, so both of my parents were very prominent in the church, and none of their kids go to church. How did that make you feel?
I feel like it reminded me when I was younger. We went to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Monday.
As soon as them doors was
And
open, you was in there.
yeah, but when I got 18, I stopped going to church because my mom allowed us to stop when we was 18. She didn't force us. As long as we was under 18, we didn't have a choice. We had to go to church. And so I kind of like raise you guys like that because I believe that even though they said as far as me and my house we would serve the Lord, I believe forcing you to go to church don't make you love the Lord. And I believe anything that we do for God, we should do it from a whole heart, from our heart. And I tell you, anything that you don't do willingly, you might as well not do it.
Right.
And so I never wanted to be that parent. Not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just never wanted to be that parents that force you guys to go to church when you got of age. But what I do know is that you guys believe in God. I know you pray. I know you even have your worship morning every morning before you get up, you worship. And so I believe it's just a time, it's just a matter of time. I believe just like God said that he was giving me back to Ken off the streets, that you guys will return and work in the kingdom. I believe heaven is your home. I believe you will eventually get to the place where you work in the kingdom. And things are just different now. So I trust that God still has his hands on you guys and that you guys heed the warnings when it comes through me. So at this time you may don't run to God, but in this that's why God still have me interceding for you guys. Okay. Next week we're going to have Leslie Mitchell, and she's going to be here to be a special guest of the Be True to You talk show. Again, that's Leslie Mitchell. She is a life coach. She's a author. She also has her own talk show, and she's going to come and share how she moved from corporate to entrepreneurship, some of the issues, some of the battles, and how she overcame the fear of walking out of a corporate, walking out of something safe and secure, and doing what God has called her to do. So that is going to be next Monday, Leslie Mitchell. We have a lineup for you all month long, and we will be back with
Mommy Mondays next month.
okay.
Oh, also feel free to send in suggestions that you would like to hear us talk about. It doesn't necessarily have to be the things that we come up with. Like, y'all are more than welcome to say something that you would like to hear us speak on.
Or if they would like to be a guest, can they be your guest?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm so joking. You could definitely come on here. I'm very welcoming. I do have a bit of an abrasive personality, but I actually am a really nice person.
So, okay, so you guys, thank you for being with us. Thank you for liking, sharing, comment. We greatly appreciate you with sticking with us. Stay tuned for Be True to Talk Show. We have so much more coming with you. And yes, Morgan and I will talk about so many things as far as life, relationship. We're going to talk about, you know,
How
whatever.
you used to always tell me that I need to find me a man that's 2 boats ahead of me.
Yeah, like finding a man. What's a good man? What are some things to look for? How a woman should carry herself? Some of the etiquette. We might even cook together. So just be ready for the ride because it is going to be off the hinges with this one.
What hinges?
You
There are no hinges.
off the hinges. The doors is swinging wide open. Okay, so
Wow. I had to remember who channel we was on. Hallelujah.
yes. Okay, you guys, thank you so very much. Please do us a favor. Please continue to like the page, comment, and share. Again, like, share, and comment. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook at the Be True to You Talk Show. Again, that's Be True to You Talk Show. That's YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And again, if you want to be a guest on the show, inbox us or email us at BeTrueToYouTalkShow at yahoo.com. That's BeTrueToYouTalkShow at yahoo.com. If you have a story, something that you've overcome, that you feel like your story, your life experience can help someone else, come on out here and share it. Remember, Be True to You is not about being perfect. It's not about being um a fake. We're about being real. We're about being our authentic self. It's about understanding the good, bad, and ugly, and those things that need to be changed that we don't like. We put on our big girl panties and do the work. So that being said, this is your girl Angela,
It's me, your girl Wiz.
and oh yeah, how can they find you? How can they follow you?
Don't. My my Facebook is Morgan Christina, and my Instagram nail page is Wizzy Wonders.
Yeah, you looking for models? You
I am looking for models. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Very low price sets at the moment. DM me on Instagram, and we will go from there. Wizzy Wonders on Instagram.
Do you
No
have a number that can
underscore.
call for
Not
appointments?
presently.
Okay, no problem. So
DM me.
okay. DM her and get your nails done. And yeah, thank you so very much. We cannot wait for next week, first Monday. And not on that, we see you this Monday with Leslie Mitchell. Remember, in everything you do,
Always be true to you.
Bye. I love you and I mean it. True to you is not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. It's about being okay with the good, bad, and ugly. To accept those things about ourselves that we can't change, and those things that need to be changed, we put on our big girl panties and do the work. Be true to you is about being real with God, being real with self, so we can be true to you. Be true to you is not about competing with one another. We're about complimenting one another.